Hey everybody, I feel like getting into my first winter here with beekeeping. It's like I'm playing a game of Schrodinger's cat, or in this case Schrodinger's bees. We're in early December at this point. In fact, the weather is working for me. It is unusually warm, which is giving me the time that I need to get out here and make sure that my bees are fully prepped for winter. I'm pretty sure I have a weak colony, and I've been doing a lot of research to figure out what kind of feeding would be best for my bees. It's very clear that my bees are going to need to be fed over winter. They definitely don't have enough food stores. So there are all sorts of methods. Traditionally, I guess folks would use a pretty heavy syrup, sugar syrup for the winter, but I worry about freezing and moisture in the hive for that. Sugar cakes seem to be really popular, but that's a little bit more labor intensive, especially if you're going to be making bee candy. That can be dangerous trying to boil that much sugar. What seems to be popular right now and is also incredibly easy and has a couple advantages to it was what's called the mountain camp method. Essentially, I'm just going to pour some dry sugar on top of my bees with a layer of newspaper underneath. And a couple good things about that. One, it's easy. I mean, all you can do is go to the grocery store and buy some regular old sugar. Another good thing about it is that it actually helps keep moisture down in the hive. Sugar will absorb any extra moisture that's in the hive, and that's a big problem in the wintertime, condensation. The bees, if they're able to have an effective cluster, will keep the temperature in the hive up, over 90 degrees. And when it's freezing outside, you're looking at, a real condensation problem, and people have lost entire colonies as a result. And so the mountain camp method, the sugar will help absorb that moisture. So what I've got
So
here,
what I'll be using, just recently got one of these, and essentially it's almost like a really tiny super. You can see it compared to this medium super here. And what this does is it just gives a little extra depth. It gives you room to pour that sugar on top. Makes room for that. So I'll be putting that on. I've got my newspaper here, and just coincidentally, maybe this is a good omen, we got a nice bee on front here. And of course I've got my sugar. Now after I pour the sugar on, what I'll be doing is squirting it down. Now what the bees will do with dry sugar, and this is something that people worry about with the mountain camp method, is that they won't necessarily recognize it as food, and they'll actually just carry it out when they get the chance. So what most people recommend is that after you pour the sugar on, you squirt it down, not heavily, but just squirt it down and give it a layer of moisture, and then the bees will recognize it as food. I've also added some essential oils to this, some lemongrass oil, which the bees love. It's also quite good for them. So this should be a pretty quick and easy process. Hopefully when I take the top off of that, I won't have any problems. I have seen the bees coming and going a little bit on these warm days. So let's go out to the hive and take a look. Here's the hive. Things are pretty quiet around the hive. I've seen just a few bees flying around, coming in and out. You can see one right now, but got one over here just kind of hanging out on the corner. Some others flying around, just a few. So they really don't want to come out that much. There's not much for them to do, nothing really to collect. During the winter, on days that are a little bit warmer like this, they'll come out to do a cleansing flight. And I covered that in my last video. Basically means to come out and use the bathroom. They will hold it the entire time during that cluster until the weather gets a little bit warm enough for them to come out and relieve themselves. I'm gonna pop the cover off and take a look. Alright guys, well, my little joke about Schrodinger's cat earlier, or Schrodinger's bees, I have opened the box, and it has been determined that the cat, aka the bees, are dead. There are a few stragglers. I don't know if they're from my hive or if they've just been coming from another hive nearby. I suspect they're stragglers. Some of my bees are in a bad way, and if there was any doubt at all, I found the queen. And that's I'm about 90% sure that's the queen. The coloring and the size. She doesn't look quite as big as the last time I saw her, but so that does it. There's not really much that I have to do this winter to take care of the bees, other than, you know, make plans for next spring. I at least know what the situation is now. I'm going to add a second hive, so that'll give me 2 hives. I'll figure out what it is I have to do about cleaning this one out and preparing it for a new hive of bees. So I'll you know, over the next couple of months, I'll be making my plans and figuring out what it is I have to do. I haven't really thought that far yet. I haven't done the research on, you know, what you do with a hive. There's some honey, of course, in this hive. I don't know if I'll harvest it or not, but you know, it's a bit of a sad end to something I've been excited about and still am excited about, but that's nature. That's how it is. You know, I found more yellow jackets in this hive today than actual bees. So guys, thanks for following along, and we'll start this over again in the spring. Thanks, guys.